All right, so today we're going deep on something pretty heavy-hitting.
Yeah, definitely a tough one.
We're looking at this YouTube video. It's called UN Special Rapporteur Calls for Genocide Label, Suspension of Israel's Credentials. And it's from the Express Tribune.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
Really makes you think, you know.
For sure.
And what we're going to try to do today in this deep dive is try to understand what it even means. Like, what does it mean when we say something is genocide?
Right.
Especially something as complex as this, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the rapporteur in this video is making some really serious accusations.
Yeah.
Calling for Israel's actions to be labeled as genocide, and even suggesting that their UN membership should be suspended.
Whoa, okay, so before we even get into the specifics of what they're saying, I think it would be helpful just to back up a second and understand, like, who is this UN Special Rapporteur?
Oh, sure.
What kind of authority does this person even have?
Yeah, so basically think of a UN Special Rapporteur as like an independent investigator.
Okay.
They're appointed by the Human Rights Council.
And they basically deep dive into a particular country or a global issue. It
Okay.
could be something like freedom of speech, or in this case, human rights violations.
Gotcha.
And they carry a lot of weight because their statements are based on a ton of research and analysis.
So they're not just like some random person with an opinion.
Exactly. They're experts chosen for their knowledge and impartiality.
Okay.
And their reports are often used to hold nations accountable on the world stage.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, I keep hearing about this Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I gotta admit, I'm a little fuzzy on the details.
Of course, yeah.
Could you give us a little context, like a little refresher?
Absolutely. So this conflict has been going on for decades, and it's really rooted in these disputes over land resources and self-determination.
Okay.
Both sides have claims going back centuries, and there's been a lot of violence, a lot of political deadlock.
Yeah.
It's a truly tangled web.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
And now you got this rapporteur saying it's reached the level of genocide.
One of the things that really jumped out at me in the video was this comparison they made to cancer.
Oh, yeah.
They said it's like getting a diagnosis. Like,
Yeah.
you have a serious problem that needs immediate attention.
Yeah, it's a powerful analogy for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What they're saying is that genocide is a disease, something that eats away at a population and has long-lasting consequences.
Wow.
It's not just a one-time event, it's a process.
Right.
And it can lead to potentially irreversible damage.
But proving genocide isn't easy, right?
No, it's not.
I mean, the video mentioned something about intent being a crucial factor.
Absolutely. According to international law, proving genocide means proving intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group.
Yeah.
And that intent is not always easy to establish.
So how do you actually prove intent? I mean,
Yeah, that's where things get
Yeah.
tricky. The rapporteur actually makes this distinction between intent and motive.
Okay.
So motive could be anything, political gain, resource control, whatever. But intent is specifically about setting out to destroy a group through your actions.
I see.
It's a subtle but really important difference.
So is the rapporteur saying that even if Israel's motives aren't clear, like we don't know the motive, their actions are evidence of intent to harm the Palestinian people?
Yes, that's a core part of their argument. They're pointing to a pattern of violence, displacement, and restrictions on Palestinian life that they believe constitutes a deliberate attempt to destroy them as a group.
And they're saying these crimes have been happening to Palestinians through their entire life as a people. I
Exactly.
mean, that really emphasizes just how huge this issue is.
Absolutely. The rapporteur's argument is that this isn't about like isolated incidents or temporary conflicts. It's about a systematic and continuous pattern of oppression
Wow.
that has spanned generations. And that's a key factor in their call to label this as genocide.
Now, the video also mentions that the rapporteur wants Israel's UN credentials to be suspended.
Right.
Can you break that down for us? What does that even mean practically?
Sure, think of UN credentials as like a membership card with voting rights.
Okay.
Suspending them would essentially bar Israel from participating in UN decision-making
Wow.
and representing themselves on the world stage.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a major diplomatic punishment.
Has something like that ever happened before?
It's incredibly rare.
Really?
One historical parallel you could maybe point to is South Africa's expulsion from the General Assembly in 1974 because of apartheid.
Right.
But even that was eventually reversed.
It's interesting that the rapporteur also acknowledges that no nation has clean hands when it comes to human rights. That seems like a pretty significant statement.
It is. It's a reminder that judging human rights issues on the world stage is never black and white.
Right.
The international community has often struggled to apply consistent pressure when human rights are violated.
Yeah.
And many countries have their own issues to deal with.
So you're saying there might be a bit of double standard sometimes?
Yeah, the rapporteur's statement definitely invites us to consider that.
Like certain countries get called out more than others.
Yeah, possibly. It raises the question, how do we ensure accountability while recognizing that no nation is perfect?
And this whole deep dive has been pretty heavy.
Yeah, definitely some serious stuff.
But I feel like I have a better understanding now of what's at stake here.
It really makes you think about how we define genocide.
Yeah.
How we hold nations accountable and what role the UN even plays in these incredibly complex situations.
Absolutely. It leaves you wondering, how do we balance the need for justice with the desire for peaceful resolutions?
That's a tough question.
Definitely something worth exploring further.
For sure.
All right, well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive. It's been real.
Anytime.